Hello, everybody. I am sitting down with crime analyst, intelligence specialist of the cargo theft world, the one and only Gary Thomas. Gary Thomas.
Thank you, Andre.
Yeah, thank you for
Appreciate it.
jumping on.
Yeah.
Wanted to hear a little bit about your background, if you will,
Okay.
about how you came, like what did it take for you to end up sitting here in this seat?
It goes back 16 years. I became a criminal intelligence analyst with the Kentucky State Police. Within the first week, the first case that I got was a cargo theft case. I was asked to do some analysis, like some link analysis, put some people together. So I did very rudimentary, like stick figure visuals, right? Just nothing that you see today, right? Not the AI, the great graphics that we have today, just very rudimentary. Submitted that to the FBI and to the United States Attorney's Office, and everybody in that case pled guilty. And I said, I'm the best to ever do this. Facetiously.
You hear that, Mom?
Yeah. But it was that bit of like affirmation and the success early on, literally within the first month of being in that role. I'd worked for the state police for 10 years before that, but this is my first time in a specialized field. So I got the success, I got that affirmation, and it was a feeling I've been trying to chase ever since. You know, I've been trying to find that satisfaction of helping people, helping put the bad guys away, safeguarding our industry, and at the end of the day, making friends, networking, and enjoying the life that you have with the people around you.
Yeah, and it's a good group. I think right now we're at an event where we get to hear from a lot of people. We get to network, and they always encourage exchanging contacts because you got to know your law enforcement guys. You know who's vetting, who's preventing theft, who's doing locks, who's right. And as you build this network, us working together, I think that's what we need to do, shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah, it takes a village.
The bad guys are doing.
Just say you're a parent, I'm a parent. They say it takes a village to raise a child. I feel like this industry is our child that that we're trying to keep safe and watch it grow and thrive.
Yeah. Well, I guess over the course of from that first cargo theft that you saw to now, you constantly hear things have changed. Things have changed. What are those things that have changed?
Initially, I worked in the straight theft capacity. A truck got stolen while at rest at a truck stop or wherever. About 2014.
Classic hard work.
Just
people actually showing up and
people. Yeah, you had to know how to drive a truck if you were going to steal it. In 2014, sitting on a couch like this with my boss Bobby Motley at the time, he gets invited to speak at a conference on fictitious pickups. And he agrees, and he hangs up the phone. And he looks at me. He says, "Hey, man, what's a fictitious pickup?" This was in 2014. From then on, we see the emergence of fraud, identity theft, strategic theft that we call it now, and just the sophistication and the brute force volume that we see. You look at, a lot of people in our industry post things about how many emails they've stopped, and we're talking about hundreds of thousands of attempts monthly, and so just to see how we went from a traditional bad guy, waiting at the truck stop or following it, to literally being able to sit anywhere in the world and manipulate somebody's identity, manipulate the supply chain digitally, in a landscape where 10 years ago we didn't have the security providers that we have. We didn't have the technology that we have. So from a law enforcement perspective, I always felt like law enforcement was behind the times and technology anyway, funding, manpower, whatever it may be. But now we're really on this is the battlefield that we're on. It's the digital landscape. So it's made everything that much more challenging. But then you incorporate, the network of people we have that specialize in the technology, working together, you hope to bridge that gap.
Yeah, and the crazy part is that before you had to be local to commit a crime, and now you can have somebody, there's a handful of places stateside where people are, it's prevalent. There's a handful of countries overseas where people are doing this, but they could just be sitting with a laptop, and what we want to prevent with verified carrier is, allowing them to act like a trucking company,
Right.
because it's just so hard to reconcile the physical and the digital identities, because it has moved into the digital space to where, they could just get a load and then double broker it. Best case scenario, absolute best case scenario, is they'll just skim off the top.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And the real carrier makes less money, and that sucks too. But then the worst case scenario is, they'll study locations, figure out their processes, or just steal right from the onset, just get a hold of an MC, impersonate them, steal a load. So a host of bad things that happen.
It says a lot about what's going on when we kind of take a deep breath in relief when it's just a regular double brokering that, maybe somebody lost some money.
That's how low the bar has gotten.
Right.
So a lot of work that still needs to be done. And the tools that have cropped up, it has been great, and everybody's doing things a little bit different. And I don't think there's any silver bullet, to quote Scott Cornell. We don't want to do that too much, but so I guess since COVID, in your own personal experience, from what you've seen, have there been any kind of novel tactics, or is there anything, the last year that you've heard about?
What really interests me is and I think you and I have talked about this before, the internationalized domain and the typo jacking, to where this true instance where, there was a cloned email, use a typo jacked internationalized domain name. They send the email to the carrier, and in their verbiage, they say, "Hey, I'm at a conference right now. This is my cell phone. Call me here. I want to redirect you." And we're at a conference right now. It's the culture we're in. There's an event every week. But for them to know, scarily, what we're doing, and to know that kind of fits the mold.
It's like social engineering.
Yeah, nobody questions that. Sure, he's at a conference. So we've seen that rise quite a bit, and it's you'll see the domain register the day before the theft. And scarily looks identical to to whatever freight broker's email it may be.
Yeah, and the ability now for anybody to just crank out a website. That used to be a expensive affair, and now it's just like,
if you didn't know
beep,
HTML,
boop, and you got one set up. So they'll copy a company. Everyone's got Photoshop. I mean, now it's even scarier with AI. That
you can ask them just to make it for you.
Yeah. So we're entering into new times. What do you think, though? Moving into the future, are we? People throw out the concept of the new normal.
Mm-hmm.
Are we there? Is this just a plateau? Or are we as an industry actually building some cohesion to where they're going to go find lower hanging fruit somewhere else? Like, they kind of shied away from banking when they got all the multi-factor authentication and all that. They got their house in order. We're easy pickings by comparison.
Right. But I think we're making steps as an industry to kind of safeguard some of that. I think it's been at the expense of, the crime, reputation. A lot of pain had to go into us to get to where we're at today. But we're at a conference that 5 years ago I attended with 7 other members of law enforcement, and there's 60 here today.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's
and
a great turnout. And there were 70 people at that conference, and there's 400 today. So I think it will take everybody working on the same page. Everybody has a business, everybody needs to make money, but when it really coming together to attack this, on one front, and hopefully you see some of the numbers go down and things start to shift.